I want to jump to something now that I think everyone here will appreciate and enjoy, because this is more than just a wrestling story, okay? This is a story about redemption, about getting a second chance. This is a story about overcoming your past, learning from mistakes. It's a great story. It's a humbling story. And I think even though it's already getting quite a bit of attention, I think it deserves more. So I want to give whatever minuscule attention that my show can give to this issue, and hopefully be able to pay forward some of the respect that I have through others to get back to the person who this story is about. Some of you guys probably know of a women's wrestler by the name of Jessika Havok. She's wrestled for TNA under the name Havoc, just simply Havoc. She's wrestled all over the indies as both Havoc and Jessika Havok. She's known for being, again, I don't want to say a bigger wrestler because that sounds like I'm insinuating something, but she's known for being a very menacing women's wrestler. I've seen her do choke slams on fully grown men. She wrestles guys all the time. She's had a series of wonderful matches with Sami Callihan. She's a menace. She's intimidating. She comes down to the ring with an electronic gas mask and all sorts of doomsday-style apparatus. It's really impressive. She's got a really good look going for her. If you don't know who Jessika Havok is, go YouTube her debut in TNA. Go look up her indie stuff. Follow her on Twitter. You can follow her at Fear Havoc. She does Twitch TV as well. She streams games. So that's awesome as well. For those of you who don't know Jessika Havok, though, you might have at one point in time, because there was a point where Jessika Havok was within inches of joining the WWE, which personally would have been great for me because I like to see different characters on WWE. I especially like to see different women characters on WWE because God knows for how long that division was stagnating under mediocrity. Not the talent in the ring, what that talent was being given. You can only watch so much of the same catty nonsense before your brain drips out of your ears. So I would have been ecstatic to see Jessika Havok in WWE. I would be ecstatic to see it now. She would do tremendously now with the way that things are going. But that opportunity, by her own words, was ripped away from her. As you see, there were some tweets back in the depths of Jessika Havok's Twitter that she herself deems unprofessional and immature, referencing all sorts of things like insulting the women's product of WWE at the time, which no one could really blame her for, honestly, but I get where she's coming from when she says it's immature and unprofessional. There was even some stuff which some people have called racist. There was all sorts of stuff. If you want to find the tweets, I'm sure you can, but I mean, it's not really worth looking up. It's not the point of the story here, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can when I talk about this. Because, again, this is a story about redemption and second chance, okay? Jessika put up a blog post a few days ago discussing this whole story. And I want to take a second now and read a little bit of this because it's very emotional and it's very moving, and it opens a window to some background on the story which you might not know. So I'm going to take a second here and read an excerpt or two from Jessika Havok's blog post and get the conversation rolling here a little bit. And I quote, "During this time," referencing TNA, "Sarah Del Rey found out I was never actually contracted with TNA. So she contacted me, and I sent her all the criteria for pursuing a tryout, that being for NXT. I was invited to the June tryout of last year with only about 2 weeks to prepare. I busted my ass, dropped 20 pounds, and upped my cardio as best I could. Let me just say that there's nothing you can do to actually be fully prepared for something like that. In that 3 days, I endured the hardest physical obstacles and cardio drills. That tryout was the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. I can't express to you how painful and physically taxing it was on the body. I killed it, though. I was alongside the likes of Athena, Taylor Hendricks, Drew Golick, Biff Busick, Chuck Taylor, and Johnny Gargano. I busted my ass and I killed it. I nailed my promo. The coaches seemed to love me. I have every right and reason to believe I was getting signed. On the third day of my tryout, a group of trolls, because they don't deserve to be called fans, decided to drudge up old tweets from 2010 and 2011 and retweet and tag me in them. A lot of them were me talking shit about WWE angles and outwardly expressing my disdain for their women's division. A lot of girls on the indies then hated it for the way they portrayed women on TV. I was just the only one stupid enough to post openly about it on my social media. I will openly admit that I probably wasn't mature enough to have a social media account at that point in my career. That was the point of my career when I thought it was cool to cuss in promos and say shit for shock value. What was worse was that they took tweets of me and one of my best friends tweeting jokes back and forth to each other that was considered stereotypically racist. They were taken out of context, and basically I trended worldwide as a racist bigot. I am not and never have been either of those. I trended worldwide as a racist that day. What is even more fucked up is that the tweets that trended worldwide and got plastered on every dirt sheet website weren't even real. The KFC one especially. That same group of little trolls used a Twitter app to Photoshop these tweets that made it huge. I had a team of people look into this group, and I have screenshots and proof of them bragging about screwing me over, even saying things like, "Who do we mess with next?" Again, call me a liar and anything else you can think of. I've heard it all at this point, but I have proof, kids. I am even told I can sue, slander and defamation of character. They cost me my dream job. I may pursue it. Who knows? Regardless, I was so devastated to see myself trending online for such an ugly lie. I will admit, some of what I posted was in bad taste. I didn't need a social media account at that point. Tasteless jokes were absolutely taken out of context. I apologize to everyone who I did offend for anything I have ever said. I owned up to what I did say. I also issued an apology on Twitter that day because Dave Lagana from TNA told me to. He reached out to me and told me that even if I didn't tweet them to apologize because it would make me look bad if I didn't. I listened, and I shouldn't have. I was directed to delete my apology from a more reliable, knowledgeable source shortly after. I panicked. I was sad. I contemplated quitting. I cried for a month. I didn't know how I would come back from such a horrible accusation, and I only looked guilty. But obviously I came back a little stronger and with a little thicker skin. It's going to have to take a little more than a pathetic group of trolls living with mommy to fuck me up. Before each and every one of you judge me or call me names, please make sure you are perfect first. Make sure that you have never made a mistake or made someone cry or said something hurtful. Make sure you have never made a tasteless, sexist, racist joke of any kind before you judge someone else. We all make mistakes, and we learn from them and evolve. We grow and we mature, become stronger and smarter. We become more aware of what is okay and what is not okay. I've changed and matured and mentally grown over the last 5 years especially. I am a human being. I have feelings. I deserve to be successful, and I know my worth. I will be damned if someone who isn't God himself will tell me I am a failure and a racist and I don't belong. I am not a racist. I am not a bigot. I love all life. I love everyone. We are all here to make a difference and learn and grow. Listen to all sides and form your own opinion based on your experience with that person or situation. I feel like I am more sad and bitter these days, and I am letting too much get to me. Things that didn't used to get to me. I think I've left all these feelings bottled up for a while, so I wanted to put this out there. Try to clear my name. Try to explain my side. Closure. Unquote. That's intense, isn't it? I mean, imagine yourself. Let's say this was you, whoever you are, whatever you do. Imagine yourself in a scenario where someone deformed your character, slandered you, taking a root in something that might have been real and faking it, blowing it out of proportion and costing you a job where you could have made enough money to be comfortable for quite some time, where you could have lived the life that you've been chasing all along. It's pretty hard to swallow that pill. It's pretty hard to imagine that there's people out there who thrive on this environment, but that's 100% true. Look at the situation, and I'm actually going to come back to this later, so I'm only going to go into this briefly because we'll hit it later. But look at the situation with Seth Rollins in the summer of 2014 with the whole Zara Schreiber thing. If that was a genuine hack and that photo was leaked, that could have ruined Seth Rollins' career. It didn't, and that's exactly what I'm going to use to make a case for Havoc here, but we'll get back to that in a minute. I'm going to ask the audience a question here. Do you think people deserve a second chance? Do people change? Are people who they always will be? My answer is yes, people deserve a second chance. And my basis on that is a mixture of empathy and experience. We as people are doomed to do stupid ass shit all the time. How many times have you woken up, knocked your phone off your nightstand? How many times have you woken up and put the wrong food in the toaster or done something stupid? That's the basic level of human stupidity that we are doomed to repeat every day. Now, I want you to think about yourself at work and that time you got reprimanded because you said something you shouldn't have. Did you deserve to be fired on the spot and never given another chance at your career? Let me think back to the time you said something to your ex or the person you're dating now, where the second it came out of your mouth, you said, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that." Did you deserve to never date anyone else again? Because probably not. Probably you're a decent person, even a good person maybe. Odds are you just said something when you were on an emotional high, for a good emotional high or a bad one. But you don't deserve to be exiled for eternity, for your eternity at least, because of one instance where you made a mistake. Jessika Havok here is admitting that she made a mistake and said some things that were in bad taste. She's admitting that she said some things that could obviously cost her, as they did. And at what point does it become facetious to hold on to such a stupid grudge? I remember when this incident happened, when it originally broke, there were a lot of people who were condemning Havoc like she was the worst thing that ever happened. Mind you, these are the same people who probably own Hulk Hogan memorabilia, and still own it today. Mind you, these are people who probably have t-shirts that say redesign, rebuild, reclaim, which brings us back to Seth Rollins, which is my crux of this argument, okay? For those of you who don't know, because it seems like a lot of wrestling fans live under rocks these days, in 2014, Seth Rollins found himself in a lot of hot water when either he did something dumb or it was hacked, but his Instagram account leaked a nude photo of then NXT prospect Zara Schreiber. Zara Schreiber. Forgive me, everyone. Anyways, his Instagram account leaked or was hacked into leaking a nude photo of NXT prospect Zara Schreiber. The problem was, Seth Rollins, well, beyond the fact that it was a leaked nude of a coworker, Seth Rollins was engaged at the time. In retaliation, Seth Rollins' fiance tweeted out a nude of him. Yikes. I remember it very clearly. Not the nude, the situation. Wow. I remember it very clearly because the speculation at the time was whether or not it was going to destroy Seth Rollins' push. If you remember, he had just won Money in the Bank or was about to win Money in the Bank. Everybody knew he was going to be a WWE champion in the near future. And a lot of people were afraid that now this was going to derail all of that and he was going to have to go back to square one. Because let's face it, on the list of things that you can do to get fired, tweeting out nude photos of your coworkers is pretty high on the list. Whether or not you meant to do it, that photo is associated with your official Twitter, which is associated with WWE's official Twitter, which is a direct line to the PR office of WWE. So WWE cannot have nude photos of its employees on its Twitter because WWE is not Brazzers, okay? So, naturally, you can imagine why people were concerned. What became interesting, however, was not only did it not derail Seth Rollins' career or his push, but it led him to winning the main event of WrestleMania a few months after, something like 7 or 8 months after the fact. So, that has been largely forgotten, and when it is brought up, it's usually brought up in jest. Hey, you guys remember the Seth Rollins dick pic? Yeah. So why would we all be willing to forgive Seth Rollins, most of which forgave him the moment it happened, but we can't look at something like Jessika Havok saying stuff 5 or 6 years ago and go, well, what does it matter now? 6 years is a long time. People change a lot in 6 years. If you don't believe me, think back to when you were 18 and then think back to when you were 12. Think you changed a little bit? 6 years is a long time. A lot can change in 6 years. I'm sure Havoc would give anything right now to have taken back those tweets and never said them. I'm sure Havoc would love to get a second chance. I want to see her get that second chance because I want to see her succeed. I think she has the potential to be a monster in WWE. Honestly. Can you imagine her and Nia Jax? I want to see that. Can you imagine her and Sasha Banks? I want to see that. Her and Bayley. That's a great feud. On principle, I want to see that. Why deny the opportunity to create a legacy over something that happened so long ago in terms of technology and the digital revolution, the social media world, that it's almost irrelevant? Why hold back the potential of a guaranteed money-making star for something that you would push someone else to the moon if it happened to them? Now, there's always the Hulk Hogan thing. Hulk Hogan to this day has still not been on WWE programming and probably never will be again. But it's not comparable. Hulk Hogan had a sex tape in which he himself out loud used incredibly racist language. That's a 2 for 2. The sex tape alone is enough. Look at China, for example. R.I.P. If you can't get over some stupid tweets from 6 or 7 years ago or however long, and you're going to hold that against this poor girl, shame on you. You aren't a wrestling fan. Because if you were a wrestling fan, it would be easy for you to say, you know what, it was probably dumb on her part, but she's owned up to it. It's in the past now. Let's move forward and rebrand this thing into a positive. You would be all for trying to build a career for someone. And the fact that you can't get past this is really upsetting because honestly, it's just a waste of your hatred to direct it at something so facetious. Take that energy that you would feel. Take that hatred that you would feel. Try your best to be a human being, to turn it into something positive for someone. Because I can guarantee you this. If nothing else, deleting your hatred for something stupid and turning it into love for something with potential will at least make you feel better as a person. I want Jessika Havok to feel better as a person. I want Jessika Havok to get her career. And that's only going to happen if we as a collective say, we forgive you. Welcome back. So everyone, repeat after me. We forgive you. Welcome back, Jessika Havok. If you want to follow her on Twitter, again, her account is @FearHavoc. She does Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Jessika Havok. Her Instagram, Havoc Death Machine. Follow her, guys. Retweet her blog post. Give her some attention. And above all, give her some love.